Welcome to Blake Street Banter, where one of us knows what the word banter means. The other two are just along for the ride. Tyler, say what's up.
What up? What up?
We are joined by Rockies prospect Chase Dollander. What up, big dog?
What's going on, guys? How are you?
Doing well. This is pretty exciting for us. I need to know where we rank on your kind of list of really cool things you did in 2024. So you made your professional baseball debut. You got called up to the Hartford Yard Goats. You started the MLB All-Star Futures game, and now you're on Blake Street Banter, kind of towards the end of the season. So, like, where are we kind of on this little ranking scale here?
I mean, yeah, I don't think it's any question that y'all are number one. So it's been a lot of fun, you know.
Yeah. All right. So we heard it here first. Heard it here first. Chase's number one things in 2024 list, BSB. So we got that out of the way. This is pretty exciting to talk to you. Like, you're doing really cool things. You're pitching your way through Spokane. You're in Hartford, the call up and all that kind of stuff. And I'm all over the place. I don't know where I want to start, but like, I think I want to start with that future game nod, right? Like we just talked about the player of the week off air, and we'll talk about that in a little bit later. Like that's down the road of cool things. But like, how did you kind of know that you were going to be taken to the future game to represent the Rockies? How did you find out that you were starting? Who did you call first? Like, how did all that happen?
Yeah, so our farm director, Chris Forbes, he called me probably about a week or week and a half before the game, and he was like, hey, like, just let you know, you got invited to the Futures game. Kind of keep it low right now, but you can call your parents and tell them. So the first person I called was my mom, and she was obviously very happy about it. And then I called my stepdad and told him, and then those were the only two people that I called other than my girlfriend at the time. But yeah, it was surreal just kind of hearing that. And then once I got to Dallas, I had no idea if I was going to pitch or not, because I think we had 8 pitchers or 9 pitchers and there was only 7 innings. And so it was like, I don't know if I'm going to pitch, but as soon as I got there, I got my hotel information. They're like, oh, by the way, you're starting. I was like, what? All right, well, here we go. And, but yeah, it was an awesome experience.
Were there any guys there that you just kind of seeing them go through BP or whatever that you're kind of like, all right, I'm going to be watching for that dude in the big leagues in a couple of years?
I didn't really get to watch BP only because I was just kind of like preparing for a start day. Basically, I just kind of treated it like I was pitching in Spokane at the time. But I knew going into it that I was probably going to face Spencer Jones, and I played him in college. And I wanted to face him again, and I ended up getting to, and I knew that guy. He's gonna be in the big leagues here soon. I think I get to play him this week if he's still here, but yeah, I know he's gonna be breaking it here soon.
Does that amp you up a little bit? Like you know who like some of the dogs are on the other side. Yeah. Like in you're facing every single one of those guys in that futures game, right? And like you get amped up a little bit like that? Like,
I noticed that I wasn't as amped up as I thought I would be in that game. I don't know. I don't know if I did a good job just controlling it, or if it was just like, hey, like you're going to be amped up, so just expect it kind of thing. But I just remember, I remember looking up and I was like, all right, I know who this is. And it was just like, what is going on? Like these guys were all really good prospects and are probably all going to break the MLB here soon. So It was like, all right, well, if these guys are going to be guys I'm playing here soon, might as well, get to know them and get to see how they swing.
Yeah, and you went out and did a little clean sheet there.
Yeah. I wish I would have got a punch out or at least not walked anybody, but it is what it is.
When I saw the zero Ks, I was like, come on, what are we doing?
Yeah, I know, right? I tried. I promise, I tried.
Like that's not our Chase. That's not the Chase that we know. No, that's pretty cool. It's pretty surreal. Like Yankiel Fernandez, he was the guy that the year before, and it's cool seeing Rockies players like kind of just represented. Like Willie Mack was out there, Jeromo was up there, I think. So it's just fun seeing you guys all just kind of do your thing and be in the the upper tier of all these prospects. And like there's some people say bad things about the Rockies farm system and all that, and that's why we're here to kind of change that narrative a little bit. And it's cool. Like, all right, we just got the starter on the futures game, like going clean. So we have that skill, and like and then I mean, speaking of that, like, do you and like Sean Sullivan like have a little rivalry like match thing going, because like you look at these leaderboards, it's like Chase 111 strikeouts, Sean 108, but then he's got to start, then he's just going back and forth like when your time was together. But like this is kind of that like camaraderie between you two, like kind of coming up together right now, and just
I wouldn't say it's a rivalry at all. I think him and I have gotten very close, and you know, we always obviously support each other a lot, and we talk all the time about like how hitters are looking and what to expect and stuff like that. But you know, Sean's a freaking wizard, like you say all the time. I mean, I don't understand how he gets so many whiffs, but I mean, that guy's just gross. So like I said, I'm super happy for that guy and how well he's doing.
Does he know about the wizard nickname? Like, we want that to stay.
Trust me, I saw the post y'all made with him in like a wizard's hat and stuff like that, and I totally feel me. He had a pretty good laugh. So,
I mean, because I've never seen a guy like him on the hill. Like he gets so far down the hill towards the plate, the low slot, commands the ball like a wizard. So
we're trying to make a combination of a lot of things. It's low slot, it's crossbody, it's almost 8 feet of extension. It's insane how he does it, but he does it, and he's probably one of the only people that I've ever seen that can do all that at the same time.
I know there's so much going along to it. I want to talk to another guy that you've kind of been working with. He's making his Rockies debut like right now. Is Bradley Blalock. Like, what can you tell us a little bit about him? Give us a little scouting report on Bradley there.
Bradley, he's the man. He joined us in Reading when we were there for our 2-week road trip, but he's a great person. I love him to death, and we have the same agency actually. So I saw him walk in with like a Vayner Sports hat on. I was like, I don't know who this is, but after that, I kind of introduced myself, and we kind of hit it off after that. But Bradley, with you're getting, he's a higher arm slot guy. He rides the ball really, really well. He has a really good curveball. I don't know. I can't remember if he throws a split or a changeup, but whatever it is, it's gross. And then I think he also has a slider off that too, or a cutter, or whatever he calls it. But I mean, he's going to be really good. He's one of those high vert guys that I think the Rockies are trying to shift towards. But I think he's going to do really well. And I was going to tune in and watch right after we got off this. So we'll see how he does. And I'm excited for him.
Yeah, I got it on here, so I'll update you with that first inning.
Please do.
It's kind of fun. That's the cool thing about doing it at this time here. But you're doing your thing, and you came out of Tennessee, which is cool because I mean you guys were fantastic in 22-23, but you also started in Georgia Southern. Mm-hmm. Like how did you kind of end up there? Because like everybody knows Chase is the Volunteer. But like, how did we kind of get our roots and our foundation going in the Southern?
Yeah, so coming out of high school, I only had 2 offers, and it was Georgia Southern and College of Charleston. And at the time, like I was more worried about going somewhere that could, number one, give me a good education, and number 2, help me financially. And College of Charleston just did not make any sense because number 1's out of state, so I would have to pay out of state tuition and stuff like that. And Georgia Southern, I had Zell Miller scholarship, which means like your tuition's 100% paid for on top of a baseball scholarship. So I wasn't going to have to pay for anything except for maybe like $300 the first semester or something like that for housing. But yeah, I was not a big prospect coming out at all at a high school. COVID obviously hit my 2020 year, which I kind of was gaining some momentum then. I got 1 call in the 5th round of the draft that year, and I turned it down just because it didn't make any sense for me. But yeah, I went to Georgia Southern, learned a lot there, was able to meet some good guys, played Tennessee my first ever outing in college.
Oh, wow.
Shoved against them. So I don't know if that gained their attention or whatever, but a lot of people think that they talked to me after that, but I will swear up and down that they didn't. But yeah, it was a lot of fun, you know, being there and learning how to pitch and stuff like that. But Tennessee was just a completely different experience.
What were some of those keys that allowed you to go from being a Georgia Southern kid to Tennessee and then to the 9th overall pick in the draft? Like what were those key moments maybe, or the key people that really helped you have a huge jump?
Yeah, I would say that coming out of Georgia Southern and transferring into Tennessee, I was number 1, my eating and all of that was just all out of whack. Like I had no idea what I was doing. And so as soon as I got to Tennessee, I was basically put on a diet. I not technically put, I kind of did it to myself because I was just like, you need to lose weight. Like, you're kind of fat. But yeah, and then I got my training locked in. I got my eating locked in. Got my sleep locked in. I started working with Coach Anderson, which he's probably the best pitching coach I've ever had. And then on top of that, all the guys there, all the coaches with Coach Q, our strength coach, Coach V, obviously. Every single one of them had a role to play in my development. I couldn't thank them enough, obviously. But it was a fun time, being around a group of guys that all wanted the same common goal of getting drafted and getting to the next level. And I think that helped a lot.
Yeah. I mean, I just imagine like an athlete as a freshman, like just kind of doing thing. I remember my freshman year. It was terrible. Like no regimen, no routines. It's like, you mean I have all you can eat buffet every single meal, all you want? Yep. Like, this is absolutely ridiculous. Yep. But it's kind of funny. Like, as an athlete, you just would think like, no, they're on this regimen. They got the coaches. They're kind of doing their thing. Mm-hmm. But then obviously if you're going to play at the next level, you're going to have to step up a little bit and kind of fix yourself going around that way. So it's kind of cool. Again, kind of like, all right, you are humans, and like you do have these same ebbs and flows that we do, like us normies over here.
Like, I try to tell everybody, like, we're human too. Like, we're human beings. We're real people. Like, we go through things. I promise. Like, it's not all hunky dory over here. Like,
right? Yeah, just chiseled out of marble all the time. No matter what you do, this kind of thing, right?
I promise. I was 230 coming out of Georgia Southern, and I dropped down to 192 before the season started. So I promise it's possible.
Yeah, definitely some life adjustments there. Yeah. I guess, I mean, on that part, like, so you go from Georgia Southern to Tennessee, and then you go to pro ball. Like, how are all those adjustments a little bit different for you?
Yeah, I would say the bigger adjustment of the two was probably from Georgia Southern to Tennessee, honestly. Because at Georgia Southern, it was kind of like everything was just kind of planned out for you. Like, you had to do this at this time, this at this time, this at this time. At Tennessee, it was more of a pro style, I guess you could say, where you had a window of time to get your work in. And if you didn't, like, that's on you, and that's your fault, and you're not going to get better, and you're not going to play if you don't, because the coaches take notice. That's kind of how it is in pro ball too. Like, you have this window of time. Yeah, certain things are kind of scheduled out for you. But it's not, you don't have exactly like, you're going to do weighted balls at this time. You're going to do bands at this time. You're going to stretch at this time. It's like you have this window of time, stretches at this time, throwing is from this until this, like, do whatever you got to do to get better that day. And so that's kind of how Tennessee prepared me for pro ball, is because, I mean, it was kind of exactly the same. So it was almost a seamless transition going into pro ball than it was going from Georgia Southern to Tennessee.
That makes sense. What was it like playing for Coach V? Like, he's animated. He's fun to watch. He's almost more fun to watch than the game sometimes. Yeah. But like, what kind of? I mean, he's that fire guy. Like, you love to see that in college baseball. Mm-hmm. But like, what was that kind of playing for that kind of guy?
It was honestly like one of the best things that I could have ever experienced. Because that guy has your back. Like, he's going to do whatever he can to number one, keep you in the game if something happens, or number two, like, if somebody's like doing something wrong to you, he's going to be the one to come out there and be like, hey, like, no, this is not right. And yeah, he might be a little animated, but that's just his personality. That's who he is. And I mean, he's a great person and a great coach. And I had such a fun time, like, playing for him and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, it was, that guy could definitely get animated, but you just knew he had your back.
Yeah, there's a reason behind all of it, all the way through. Exactly. And that's who he was as a person. Like, yeah, that's good to hear.
Well, and some of the other cool stuff at Tennessee, like, what do they feed you guys that you have, like, Ben Joyce, Chase Burns, Seth Halvorsen, like at the same time? These dudes that are just like all gunning. I mean, Ben Joyce is in his own world, but like all you guys are like able to just sit upper 90s. Like, what are they doing at Tennessee?
Yeah, honestly, I don't know. That Halvorsen came in from Missouri, and he'd already thrown 100 before, and he used to be a starter at Missouri, so that wasn't new to him. Ben Joyce, I mean, he came from a junior college, and he was throwing 100 there. He just kind of got healthy and figured out his body a little bit better. And I mean, if you look at that guy just like next to him, you're like, holy crap.
He's chiseled on marble.
Yeah, exactly. I was just about to say that. He's chiseled from something. Like, I don't know if it's marble or if it's something. But yeah, I mean, Coach Anderson is a great pitching coach, like I've said, and between all of them, like you have all the resources you need to get better. It's just a matter of taking advantage of it.
When you get doing that, Blalock just got his first out. He got 0-2 ground ball by Carroll to first base Tolio. So we're off to a good start up there. There we go. Right. So pro ball right now. You had Spokane, you had Hartford. What are you kind of working on right now? Because we've been watching. You have these big strikeout numbers, but sometimes the pitch count is a little high. You have this big fastball, but sometimes it's not always in the zone as much, probably as often as you want it to be. Right. What is it that you're kind of working on now as you're trying to make that next jump?
For me, it's a combination of things. I would say it's number one, being in the zone more. I've been very frustrated with myself at times where I'm like, Chase, you got to get in the zone, like get in the zone. Cause if you fall behind in Double-A, like it's not going to be good. You're not gonna be able to get out of it like you can in High A. At the same time, it's how many times in a game can I get outs in 4 pitches or less? And my pitching coach, Dan Meyer here, he's been talking to me a lot about that. Like that's going to be huge for your success. Like you're going to have to figure that out. Whether it's striking people out in 3 pitches or 4, or it's, getting a ground ball when you need to. And I feel like, over the course of the year, it's gotten better. It has, but there's still a lot of improvement that I know I need to make. And I'm the type of guy that I don't, if I'm criticized, like I'm gonna work on it. Like I'm not the type of guy like, oh no, like I don't need to do that. Nah, that's not me. I want to find ways to get better. I want to find ways to pitch in the big leagues for a long time, and that's just been my whole plan. So
I gotta throw up. Do you remember the first batter that you faced in Double-A, Dalen Lyle? Do you remember that at bat? Like that was was a roller coaster to watch. I felt like you were executing like every pitch, and he was just out there trying to spoil everything. So
the first inning is always hard for me. It's you have to find your rhythm. You have to find the slope of the mound. You have to, find your arm slot and all this. So I was just like, all right, we're going to go fastball heavy and see what happens. I didn't really have a choice there just because I had thrown a curveball. And, when I throw my curveball, I try and make it too good. And it just kind of loops off into the right-hander's batter's box. But yeah, once I was able to lock it in and start landing the curveball is when everything just kind of was a lot better. That's kind of my key for me. It's just if I can land the curveball, I know my mechanics are good. I know like I can get ahead of hitters. And this past outing, like we're going to talk about, it was way better than it has been all year. And so I just need to build off of that.
What's that relationship been like with you and your 2 breaking balls? Because I know coming out of college, everyone was talking about the slider, that you can get that thing into the upper 80s, maybe touch 90 with it. Mm-hmm. And you threw the curveball, I think like 10-15% of the time in college. And it seems like when I watch you now, you're throwing it maybe like a quarter of the time. Like, have you really been working to make that curveball like the go-to third pitch? And sometimes it even looks like the second pitch.
Yeah, it definitely depends on the night. It's definitely either second or third, in my opinion. It depends on what I come out of the bullpen with, but you'd be exactly right. I am trying to throw it more because of the fact that it protects my fastball up in the zone. There's this thing called tunneling. I'm sure you guys know what this is, but the curveball kind of goes like this and the fastball rides, so it just kind of breaks off in the same plane. And so that helps me get swing and misses at the top of the zone. And, the huge speed difference, whatever 20 miles an hour it is, helps a lot too. So like I said, when I'm able to land the curveball, it starts at their head, but lands in the middle of the zone. Then I can just start a fastball off of that, and they're going to swing and have some ugly swings.
It's all right there.
But yeah, my slider has definitely gotten better as the year has gone on too. So I'm happy to finally have that pitch back.
I mean, we all love a power slider. So keep ripping that thing.
Has that been kind of the goal, like to get that thing back? Because I mean, you were kind of missing that your final year in Tennessee, right?
Yeah. It turned into a cutter, which there were some mechanical reasons as to why that happened. I was being super rotational. I was getting ahead of myself. I was pulling my glove side. And so that all causes for you to get on the side of the ball rather than kind of stay behind it and get on top. Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, I could talk about hours about this stuff. I will dive into this as long as you guys want. But yeah, I changed a couple of things in my mechanics, and I feel like I've got my command back. I've got my slider back. Now it's how consistent can I get the changeup? And I feel like my changeup has been really good at times, and sometimes I'll just leave it arm slide a little bit.
Is that consistency is that hard to find? Like, we hear pitchers always saying they just need to be consistent. It's always the same mechanics all the time. And like, you kind of had to revamp it, and you're working on all that right now. Is that hard to do while trying to do all this other stuff?
I would say yes and no. Yes, whenever you're in a bullpen and you're trying to figure it out. For me, I go into the game with whatever I got, and I'm going to pitch with whatever I got that day. I don't think about mechanics. I don't think about anything. I'm like, all right, you got to compete with what you have that day.
Okay.
And that's just kind of that was kind of the thing that was taught at Tennessee is like, yeah, you could have the best stuff in the game or in a bullpen, but like whatever you go out with a game is what you got. Like you got to figure out how to get through those games. And I think I've done a really good job at limiting damage that I know that could be a lot worse. So it's just a matter of, like I said, just getting ahead and getting people out.
Yeah. The mentality that's again, another good thing like to hear is just, I have what I have and I'm going to work with it instead of trying to find it and trying to force some things. Cause sometimes just as a fan perspective, like armchair analyst, like you see some of these guys, these pitchers kind of like try to fight through trying to find it. Like when it's clear you don't have it. And Blalock just struck out Jock Peterson with a nice curveball there. That was sick. Just dropped it from the bottom. I'm gonna watch. Yeah. Got him. All right. Yeah. But like, just like finding, like working with what you have, right? Like not trying to search for it. Like, that's good. So, I mean, obviously you weren't searching for too much on your outing on, was it Friday? It's Saturday. It was a Saturday doubleheader, right?
Saturday, yep.
Which is a fantastic day. Like you, and then you go the Wizard right after you, which is that's a fun day for the fans. I mean, talk us through that day. Like you had 6 punchies in your 6 innings of work.
Yep.
0 earned runs, just the 2 hits, the 1 walk. No, one walk. Like, how was everything working that day?
Yeah, it was working really well. That first inning when I had the walk, it was me trying to find the zone and figure out what the mound of the slope of the mound was, because I mean, if you were to go to Richmond and look at the bullpen mound compared to the game mound, 2 completely opposite things. I mean, the bullpen mound's like this and the game mound's like this, so like it's just trying to figure out where your body's supposed to be, but yeah, I mean, I was filling up the zone, I was getting people out, I was doing what I needed to do, and I was just competing 1 pitch at a time, like what I talk about all the time, and just kind of going from there.
I gotta say, I mean, this has been a great discussion, but I gotta say, thinking about the mounds, that's never really crossed my mind that there can never be 2 mounds that are the same. Like it's impossible. So I feel like I've never heard a pitcher even bring that up, but that has to be an issue. Like every day you're going out there, unless you're throwing off the same bullpen hill.
The way I look at it is there's a lot of external things that could control your outing, but I do not let external things control like my process. So like I have my routines and I have my thing, but my whole motto is just compete 1 pitch at a time. And, you can't be thinking about what's going on and what all that. You just have to I need to execute this pitch. And if you don't, shake it off. Like you have next pitch, because you cannot think about 2 pitches at the same time. It's just not possible.
Yeah, that's when you get in trouble, and that's
exactly
baseball. Like even when I played, it was always that 1 pitch you got to move past it earlier, quick. Otherwise, it's gonna bite you in the butt later.
Exactly. Just say good.
Yeah, right. Good, Brody Brecht. Let's go on to the next one. Right.
Yeah,
love that. Oh, that's awesome. Tyler, do you have any other questions? Like we're at the 25-minute mark, and
oh yeah, I guess there was one more fun one right before. I think it was July 8th or 9th, whenever your last game was in Spokane. They had the gun there saying you hit 101. Like, I don't know if you saw that. Did you hit 101 or was that thing hot?
I hit 100.4.
Okay. I mean, that's
100.4. It was a little hot, but I was chucking at that game. I was sitting 98 to 100 that game, and that's always a goal for me. So it was good to see it and know that I have it in there if I need it.
Yeah, that was super cool to see. It's like, we know you're usually 94, 96, and then all of a sudden we're seeing the 101 pop up on Twitter, and I'm like, what was in his breakfast this morning? I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, Yeah. Yeah, it was fun. It was definitely fun striking out 9 people in 3 innings. That's always fun.
It's a good way to go out. Leave the Spokane faithful
Yeah,
with a good taste.
Did you text Seth out Halvorsen afterwards and like, hey, I can do triple digits too?
No, he knows I can, and so he doesn't like that. I'm coming for him, but I'm just kidding.
little speed off there.
Yeah, one of Seth's last outing here, I was charting him and charting his velo, and I just saw 100, 100, 102, 101, 102, 100, 100. I was like, all right, dude, we get it.
You can do it.
Yeah, we get it. Sorry.
Like, just insane. Like, when he gets up there, like, and his motion is so, like, erratic and so, like, crazy. Like, seeing 102 come at you in that way would just be...
Yeah.
I don't think I could stand in the box. I always wonder, like, would it be like standing in the box like against like somebody like you, like now, just like what would that be like? Like, I don't know if I would want to do that with Seth.
We can make that happen if you want.
That we can do some kind of off-season stuff. Like, we'll have like a little BSB meetup somewhere and try to figure it out.
Stand a little like on the very edge of the batter's box.
Just way back here. I'll be in the catcher's gear trying to figure it out. Maybe a little wiffle ball action, something there.
There you go.
Got a question here, Eduardo. How has it been with people asking for autographs? Like, I see it all the time at minor league games, and most of the minor league players are pretty gracious about it. But has it been a little bit crazier than you kind of expected with that?
Not really, to be honest with you. It's people are very respectful nowadays. Obviously, you'll get the one or two that are like impeding on your time and like to have no sense of like your time whatsoever. Like, hey, I gotta go do this, and they're like, wait, and I'm like, I can't, sorry.
Yeah,
you only signed 3. I need 5.
Yeah. But at the same time, like it's been fun to just kind of see all the people show up and root for me and stuff like that. I kind of got exposed to it a little bit at Tennessee with people, asking for autographs and stuff like that. But
yeah,
I just know, especially when kids come up to me, I make sure to take the time and actually sign their autographs, because I know as a kid, when I was a kid, like I would go up to people and be like, hey, can I get your autograph? So I know exactly what they're going through. And I was devastated when people said no to me, but I try and make sure I don't say no to kids.
I love that. Yeah. My kid was always trying to get a ball at a game or trying to get some autographs. And like, you just got to go ask, just got to go do it. And most of the time it goes pretty well.
Yeah.
All right. Last question. I love asking this question, and you get to be completely 100% selfish when you answer this. But what is your favorite all-time baseball moment? Like when you, like your highlight of your career from Little League to, player of the week, like the highlight, completely selfish.
Oh, man. Honestly, I'd have to say my entire sophomore season.
Yeah.
I mean,
that makes sense.
Not losing more than 10 games with that team was probably some of the most fun baseball I've ever played. And then, dude, I could pick so many different things. Like getting drafted, obviously, like is a huge one. Futures game is a huge one. Like Double-A call-up. Like there's so many I could pick, but yeah, playing in college with some of my like best friends that I'll keep in touch forever, and doing what we did that year was a lot of fun for me.
And that's a good answer. And that's why I love asking that question, because like there's all of you guys have so many moments and greatness at some point that it's just like, yeah, I can talk about that. Like some guys will talk about like Little League perfect games, and it's just like walk off in the Legion ball, or it's just it's fun. I love hearing that kind of stuff.
It is fun.
But Jace, I appreciate you hanging out with us. I'm glad you responded, and we made this happen. It was a good time, and thanks for letting us be part of your 2024.
Of course, I appreciate it, guys.